is actually good quality. So if you can bear that long into that video, that'd be lovely. Thank you. Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of the MaxYaks podcast. I'm here with Kai.
Hey, what's up?
Kai, the can't answer.
I mean, I'm imagining that they're answering me. Okay, it's kind of like theater. You have to imagine the answer before you can, respond.
True. Honestly,
I mean, you know this, Max. You've been in how many shows?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
So, let's just start with theater stuff, because that's our common ground.
I mean, yeah, true.
So, what got you into theater?
It was probably, honestly, just the fact that I needed, to fill my schedule during, grades 7 and 8. But I also, had an interest in them because I went and saw Wicked musical when I was in grade 7, I think. And so from there, I was like, hey, what if I was actually in this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, my school offers it. Why not? Let's actually do it.
I feel like that's, a common theme. It's everybody's like, I guess I'll do it.
Well, and I think it's also, a community thing. People hear about, the community that, theater brings, and, you can actually find people that have same interests as you, and you can actually create a lot of friendships there, and I did, and I think it just creates, somewhere where people can belong and be like, hey, I like theater, let's do this thing, and then you can all do this thing, but, together, and it creates, a sense of unity, I guess, and so people, search it out in order to do it.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best part about theater is the relationships you bring, because you're all there for a common reason. If you're you can't just be there to do it unless you're doing grade 8 or grade 9.
No. Well, and that was even with our show. At the end, I wasn't friends with half of the cast. I didn't even know them, and I was like, oh God, how am I going to be able to act with them by the end of this semester? And then by the end of it, I was like, I want to be in a show with all of you guys again. And yeah. I'm going to be really upset that I can't be, and I'm going to have to watch some of you act, and I'm not going to be able to do that with you.
Yeah.
And it was really hard, and that was musical theater too. After it ended, I was like, what am I going to do with my time now? I can't act with some of these people.
Yeah.
Luckily, only Jana graduated. So we weren't losing a lot of people, but at the same time, it was we're never going to play these characters again.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a problem with theater too, is when you're done a show, it's you're done.
Mm-hmm.
You're not ever going to play that character again, and you're not ever going to, be them again, unless you have to be. And the chances of that are, so slim.
Yeah.
That you may as well just, keep any memory of the show that you had.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like as you do more shows, it just gets better, because you just get so used to that feeling of being bye.
Yeah, true. And I guess, high school shows, too, I guess you have to, there's a sense of, because people are graduating, that it's oh no, I'm never gonna get this again, when in reality it's there's so many shows that you haven't done that there's no point in being sad about the show ending, because you're gonna get a new show with new people. And that's why I'm excited for next year, but I'm also scared because it's the last time I'm gonna get to perform in a high school show, and then it's surprise, you're in the real world.
Yeah.
Audition now, and it's gonna be oh no, I don't want to do that. I'm a theater kid with anxiety.
I know.
That's the worst.
I'm the exact same, because I have to audition for the Festival Play show every year.
Yeah.
And it's always the same people. It's always my dance teacher, Shelly, the director, Michael, the stage director, Aline. But every time I get terrified. And I always screw up my audition song, because I just tense up in my throat every time. It makes no sense.
Well, that was my Adam song. I literally I knew it, and I knew all the words, and friggin' she sent me a track of a guy singing it. So I was like, heck yeah, I'm gonna walk in there and I'm gonna kill it. And then literally I got up there and I don't even remember. It was somebody punched me in the face, I blacked out, and I'm standing on stage, and then I can hear people singing along with the track to help me, but then that just made it worse. And so I felt really patronized, and I was can everybody just not look at me? And then as soon as the track ended, I just walked off stage, and I was that's it, I'm gonna drop theater and I'm never gonna do it again.
Yeah.
But ultimately, hey, I got a lead. So if you don't stumble, you're not gonna get anywhere, I guess.
Yeah.
And if people don't help you, you can't get anywhere either. And I think that's important to have in theater, is people that'll actually help you and not people that'll actually like brag and have it all their way, which is really annoying, especially in cast members.
Yeah, I hate it when people are so toxic and they're so full of themselves and they think their way is the only way.
Oh, and it spreads in a cast too. And it's like, it's funny because like you hear it and you're like, no, it doesn't. Like, it's just gonna stay. And it's like, no, it may not like be the same issue that's like making the whole cast angry or upset, but that energy will just like go through them, and then you're all just like, he's breathing wrong, and then you just want to kill them.
I agree. I totally agree.
And I think that's also it for Hell Week or like production week too. When we do it for the Drama 30 shows, is it's like everybody is just in the same space, and we're all just like, he's breathing wrong, he's eating his sandwich wrong, I'm gonna go kill him. And then the other one's like, no, it's not worth it. You need those people to like hold you back, or else you're gonna like punch somebody in the face, and that's kind of frowned upon.
Yeah.
So I mean,
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. You probably shouldn't do that, but I mean, you do you in the end. But I mean, you do a bunch of theater. You do like what, dance and drama and musical theater. Like, come on, you're like a triple threat.
But it's not. I still get terrified, but I usually am like the positive person that's like, hey, let's not kill each other.
Yeah, no, I could see that. But like everybody's like, oh my god. I know that everybody's like, yeah, he's gonna get a lead in the Drama 30 show. Or like people like have that like faith in you. I'm like, yeah, I don't doubt that at all.
Oh, thanks.
Well, that's true. And I mean, you are a good actor.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
And I mean, also like size of the role, I think in cast doesn't matter. And I think people get caught up in that. I know I did. I was like, I want Gomez for musical theater, and then I didn't get it, and I was like, fine, I guess I'm just gonna drop it, it's fine. And then everybody was like, no.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I guess so. Maybe not.
I hate when people drop shows because they don't get the role they wanted. 'Cause it just seems pretentious.
Oh, I know. Like, some people were mad when they got, like, ancestor roles, and then freaking Haley busts out that, like, conquistador outfit and has this giant hat.
Yes.
And, like, whipped it around, and, like, even if it fell off, she was like, And then she got, like, the color award for best ensemble, and I was like...
Yeah.
And then there were some people who were, like, so angry that they got ancestor roles, and I was like... Why?
Yeah, the thing is, you need ensemble to make the leads look good.
Yeah, because if we're just up there and it's like, yeah, we summoned a family, but there's nobody up there, we're just all crazy.
Imagine it, please.
Like, improv to the max, I think. But I mean, that's pushing it a little too much.
Yeah, like, ensemble is so necessary.
Oh, I know, and I think that, like, even if I got ensemble next year, I'll be like, you know what? Fine, I'll just get to sing all of the songs, and I'll get to do all of the dances.
Yeah.
Screw y'all, I'll have no lines to memorize.
Yeah.
Have fun with all the subtext and tactics, because that was annoying as hell.
I hate that. That's... Oof.
Ooh, and then it's like, it's mandatory, and then it's like, you're graded on it, and it's like, I'm sorry, how is my interpretation up for grading?
Yeah. And literally does nothing for me, honestly.
Neither did the freaking journals that they made us do, and I was just kind of like, honey, I'm done with this. Can I just talk about being in the theater?
Yeah.
And I feel like you also need, like, with a director, you need to be able to, like, talk to them on, like, a personal level and an actor level. Because if you can't, like, talk to them as a person, you can't, like, be like, hey, how am I supposed to approach this scene? Because you're not even going to be able to talk to them.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people are, like, really unapproachable in the theater world just because, you know, and you have to know people in order to, like, get roles. And I just don't talk to people because that's scary. I don't do that. I'm awkward. And most people are like, but you're a theater kid. I'm like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm confident on stage because I have words printed for me that I just memorize.
Yeah.
When it comes to actual conversation, I mean, I'm just make a lot of weird facial expressions and hope that gets me somewhere. And most of the time it does. So
you get a good laugh.
I mean, you know, you're good, and so why not?
But yeah, I feel like you also need to have a good relationship just with like your director, just in case you have like an idea, but don't get too comfortable with them to the point where you're trying to be the director.
Yeah, and it's like if you try to be the director's like, honey, get out of my chair.
Yeah.
You're not the director.
Yeah, it's a really fine line. It's so hard to...
I know. And then you have those people that do cross those lines, and then the entire cast is like, I'm sorry, who made you director?
Yeah, and they get... Ooh.
And then again, it just creates that energy that just spreads, and you're like, when people say it's like this stuff does happen in theater, like they're not joking.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, no, it doesn't, and then it happens, and you're like, well, I guess you were right.
Yeah.
Sorry, and then it just creates like an awkward situation that you have to like fix in the end, and it's not a fun time, man.
Yeah,
it's not a fun time.
It's surprising where you can find drama, like
In
not
the
like
drama theater, apparently, it's where it came from. I mean, it started in Shakespeare.
Shakespeare throwing shade.
Shakespeare started it. Shakespeare, now you have to end it. Come back from the grave and end it, please. Thank you. Good night. Thanks.
And where did you get, like, how did you get into the technical theater side of it?
Well, I remember when I went to see AVJ's production of Diary of Anne Frank. I remember that was the first time that I was like ever involved, because I read the diary like the year before, and so I knew the story really well. And I went and I saw the set. And then I heard the talk back, and I was like, this is all done by students, and that was like, Malone was like, yeah, it's all done by like students, and it's, there's no adults that help. I just give my input. I don't build any of it. It's all kids. I was like, huh? I was like, there's no way in hell that this is all kids. And then like the designers talked about it, and it was, and I was like, I want to do this. And when I found out you couldn't do it in grade 9, I was like, are you kidding me? And then I did it in grade 10, and then I was like, boom, I want to go on set, because I don't like sewing, and it seems really complicated. And then I wanted to do lights in grade 10, and then I didn't get it, and I was really sad. But then I was asked to like kind of do it, like run it for shows, not necessarily design it. And then I was like, this is fun, I want to learn how to design it. And so I got designer in the fall, and I designed lights for the show, the entirety of the show, and then got nominated for it. And so I was like, this is cool to like be like the kid in the audience, like wanting to do all this stuff, and then being the one nominated for the stuff that you put on that stage that you watched all those years ago. I was like, if I would have told like my grade 7 self that, hey, you got nominated for like lighting design, my 7th grade self would be like, no, you didn't. And I'd be like, wait like 4 years, honey, you're gonna, like, I think that's so cool. And I think that like the backstage is so underrepresented, and people like don't realize, like, if there were no technicians, the actors would like be naked and they'd be on a black stage. You wouldn't be able to see anything.
The show would fall apart.
And it would. And even like the backstage directors, or like the backstage hands, and like the fly hands, like they are there for the actors and to make the show go smoothly. And I know like going to like the Jubilee and like watching shows there, I'm like, I think programming lights at like festival place is hard, let alone like the Jube. When I was watching like Les Mis, I was like looking in the back, and there were these guys running spotlights the entire time.
They were like guiding the spotlights?
Yeah, they're called follow spotlights, and they were running them because they had to follow the actor the entire time. And I was like, oh my god, that'd be so difficult. And there's like so many like little things that you need to like watch for it. If you like lose the main guy and you light like a chorus member, that's not going to be good. And so I was just like looking back the entire time. My mom was like, what are you doing? And I was like, there's guys on the roof. And she was like, okay. And going to see shows now after like being backstage or being in the booth, you cannot stop thinking about like, how did they do that? Or like, how did they make this look like that? Or how did that special effect work? And you start to look at like theater from all aspects, from like a performing aspect and like a technical aspect. And if you are like wanting to be a director and you like know about it, you start to think about it that way. And it's like, how did they like think about how to direct this scene?
Yeah.
And I think more people need to get into tech, because if they don't, it's like they're not understanding the full thing. You don't even have to do tech, just learn about it, I think is a good thing.
Yeah, because like I have helped with tech, like both at school and at Festival Place, because there's a part where they need help like building sets, because at Festival Place, because they don't have enough hands. So like the actors come and they help. Like not many people come, but you just see how much work goes into it, and you see like, oh, we got the wrong paint, now we have to go and do this new thing. Oh, you drilled this once wrong, now we have to redo this entire wall. It's like...
Or if you get like a measurement wrong, or you're missing a wall because of like a mismeasurement or a miscount, and you have to make a new one. It's like, oh no. And especially when it happens like a night before like opening, and you're like, oh no, and everybody's there at like 2 a.m. just pulling their hair out because they want to get it done. And then it's so funny because it's like setup takes so long, and then takedown takes like hours, not even. And it's so like, I want to not take it down. Like, I put it up and it's there and it looks so good. And it's never gonna look like this again. Especially when, like, because I know he does repeat shows. And so, like, you'll see, like, Ash Girl from all the years ago that he did it, and then, like, this year. And you'll see, like, the sets are, like, completely different. And you're like, huh. That's another thing that tech does, is it's, like, no two shows are ever going to be the exact same. And I think that's really cool, because it's just all about interpretation, especially in theater. So.
Yeah, I also feel like actors take tech for granted so much.
Oh, my God. Literally, I think directors need to have conversations with their actors, because it's like, actors forget that without techs, they'd be naked, nobody would be able to see them, they'd have no set, none of that, and I think
boring show.
It would be boring, and they'd have to do it all themselves, and I feel like actors who are also technicians feel like both sides.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes technicians do, like, get really snotty of the actors. And they're like, they should be more grateful. They should, like, appreciate this more, like, without us. And it's kind of like, you both need each other. Like, without the techs, the actors wouldn't have anything to wear. But without the actors, the techs wouldn't have anything to make for.
Yeah.
Like, nobody would be wearing the costumes and nobody would be acting on the set.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a symbiotic relationship. One needs the other.
Honestly, preach. And most people, again, don't realize that. They think it's just the actors, and then everything else just kind of, like, happens. Like, it's just there. Yeah. It's like, that's not actually. It's months of work behind the scenes that not even the actors realize is going on. They're off doing their own thing. It's not until, like, week before show that they're like, what's up? And then they're like, oh, sick, that's my costume that I got measured all those months ago? And it's like, yeah, hunty, it's here. Yeah. And they're like, oh no, and then it becomes real, and then they don't want to do it, and I'm like, well, kind of too late now. You signed up for it. You signed a contract.
Yeah.
You know, goodbye.
Yeah.
So
the most exciting thing is just seeing your set built for the first time. You're just like,
ooh, I know. Or it's like when, like, if with lights, it's like I'll be programming something and it won't be working, and I'm like, I don't know how to fix it, and I'll be programming just this one cue for like I don't know, like an hour or more, and I'll be like, then as soon as it works, I'm like, oh my God, it feels so good. And then it feels really crappy though when I'm like, James, he's like the lighting dude, I'm like, James, what do I do? And then he kind of like, he chuckles and he's like, okay, let me tell you. And I'm like, listen, James, you spend all your time up here. This garbage can is full of Arizona tea cans. I think you live up here, man. You have a problem. Okay, just teach me how to make the light stop moving. Okay, thanks.
Stop moving. Yeah.
Stop judging me, James.
Yeah.
He's a good dude though, and like so is Maloney. He's like, I don't know anything about lights, but I know some. He's like, I know enough, which is true. I mean, so it's good to learn. It's good to learn from both him and James. So,
where do you think you found personally the better connections, like in tech or the drama scene?
I'd have to say I found it in both. Like, being a tech, I found, like, working on the Drama 30 shows, I've made relationships with the Drama 30s themselves and with the other technicians because I did spend so much time with them. But it's like, during Hell Week and Production Week, you spend so much time with the actors themselves, too. And you have to, like, they'll come to you if they have a question about the set or about how something works. Or even if, like, I've had actors come to me about lighting cues, and they've had ideas, and I'm like, okay, and I've considered them. So it's like, I've had a relationship, both like a professional relationship and a personal relationship, because, you know, you're all tired and you all get, like, really stressed, and so people cry and emotions come out, both on the tech and actor side. So, like, I've made relationships and I've been comforted and I've comforted people on both sides. But I think probably it would be, as an actor, just a little bit more, just because you do have to, like, go through the critiques of the directors after every show, and you have to go through the notes, and then you have, like, you think you got that, like, that song right, or you think you got that, like, scene right, and then the director's like, it still wasn't there, and you're like, God.
Yeah.
Like, that was me with Crazier Than You. Every single time, Mose would be like, you didn't start on the right key, and I'm like, I hate that key, I'm gonna kill that key, I never want to start in this key ever again. But then when I actually did, during notes, she, like, was crying. She was like, you started on the right key this time. And I was like,
Yeah, it's like such a good feeling.
I was like, I
such a good
started
feeling.
on the right key. And now she's crying. I was like, that's it. I don't need to do any more shows. I've officially done my job as a performer.
Yeah.
I'm out. Goodbye. And like, and as shows go on, you know, the notes get less and less, and the directors are like, it's a good show. Keep doing what you're doing. I really have nothing to say. It's just little things at this point that nobody's gonna notice except for me because I've seen this like show like 500 times.
Yeah.
Good job. Have a good like next 2 shows kind of
Yeah.
thing. And that's like always good, but then there's always the one that it's like, this was horrible. Why did it go like this? And it's not even the first one. It's like one in the middle.
Yeah.
And then it's like everybody drops the ball, the actors and the techs, and then the director's like,
what the hell?
And then all the techs and actors are like, oh god, we screwed up.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we gotta fix it. And then they do, and then the director's like, thanks. And then you're like, they're not gonna kill us, thank God.
Yeah.
But I mean, no, I'd say actors, just like being an actor, just because you have, you know, you come for people and it's like, hey, you'll get it, you'll get the number, or, you know, you have a shoulder to cry on if you're like, I thought I got the number right. And then the director's like, nope, just kidding, you didn't. You're like,
Sake.
okay, that's
Yeah.
cool, thanks. But I think both, but actor overall, yeah.
But with like that dropping the ball thing, I definitely feel like it's like right at the beginning you're so excited to do the show because you've been rehearsing for months and months and months, but then you just get too comfortable with it, like right at the middle, and then you have that wake up call where it's like you can't just relax.
Oh,
here.
I know. And then it's like and then I like reach a point where I'm like, I'm sick of the show, and I don't even want anybody to talk about it. I don't want people to mention it. I don't want to look at it. And then I'm like, and then as soon as like it's like, oh God, it's almost over. And then it's like, no, I don't want it to be over. And then you don't realize that you're sick of it, and then all of a sudden it's like, it's almost over. There's no in between. And I'm like, well, I'm never going to get to do this show again, and I was sick of it for half of it, but it was a good time.
Yeah.
I think you need to have, like, all those emotions, though, to make a show, like, good. Because if you don't hate it at some points, I don't think you'll be able to look at it from a different, like, point of view. And, like, if I was designing a show, I'd probably want to hate it a little bit, or have a little bit of challenge if I was to design it. Because if I was, like, up on lights and it was like, ooh, easy, I know how to do this, just up and down, I'd be like, this is boring.
Yeah.
But then as soon as I have, like, a challenge and I'm like, ooh, there's, like, 8 different locations and a lot of special effects, let's go, and there's, like, 200 cues, I'm like, that's what it's like for musicals, 200 cues, man.
Yeah.
So many cues.
The most cues I've ever had was for a Cats show I had. I think there was like 400 and something.
Oh, I feel bad for the lighting dude.
Yeah, that was James.
James, no.
Yeah.
He gets sick of it. He even told me, he was like, yeah, I'm excited to, like, push the go button for Fiddler how many times. I was like, I feel you. And then I was like Carter for Adams. He pushed it. Overall, for the 8 shows, over, like, 1,600 times. I think it was close to, like, 2,000 times that he pushed the go button.
I remember he counted.
And then by the end of the show, he didn't even need the cue list. He just knew when to go because he had ran it so many times. And it's so true. You get so comfortable with the show, and then it's over. And then you're like, well, I spent all that time. I got comfortable with it. Now it's over.
Yeah.
You're like, all my time is gone now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
It's like the same thing for actors, too. Because, like, you rehearse for months, and you're like, I remember when I started struggling with this dance, and then I get it, and you're like, yes!
Yep.
And then you're like, where'd that dance go?
And then it's like, all of a sudden, it's like final show, you're doing the bow, and you're like, what happened? Where did it go?
Curtains coming down, and you're like, what?
And then everybody's like, okay, it's time for strike, and you're like, no, it's not. we have another show tomorrow morning, don't we? We have an 8 a.m. call. And it's like, no, it's over. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, the worst feeling is when you're, like, clearing out the dressing room.
Oh, yeah. But then there's that sense of relief, too, because you're, like, so tired. But then you're like, what do I do now? Like, my entire, like, schedule is free. I don't have rehearsal. What am I supposed to do? I can hang out with friends now. I can actually see my family. And then you go through that, like, 2-week period of, the show's over. And then you wake up again, and you're like, okay, let's start a new one.
Yeah.
So.
Are you gonna pursue theater and post-secondary?
I was thinking of doing something like that. I was thinking of doing what, like, Maloney or, like, the drama teacher does. Like, I want to take over the fine arts department at AVJ or even, like, somewhere. I want to do what he does. Like, I was going to go in and I was going to do a Bachelor of Arts with a major in drama and maybe a minor in biology or maybe even psychology, because I didn't take a lot of sciences.
Yeah.
Because I'm not smart like that. So I'll probably just do like psychology or something, and then I'll go back for my after degree in education, and then I would go do my student teaching, and I would want to do it under him. And I think it's like 3 or 5 years that you have to wait. And I want it to be him. And I want him to be like, hey, this is how you do things. And I think, but also like student teachers, the problem I have with them is it's like they follow, it's like by the book. And I'm like, that's beneficial, but it's like you got to write your own book on how to teach.
Yeah.
And you got to find what works for you and what works best for you. But I want to go into post-secondary and I want to see as much as I can in the arts like world, whether it be like me going to like perform or watch performances or being a tech in them. Like I want to experience as much art as I can, whether it be in theater or like visual or whatever form it can come in. I want to like experience it.
But why the psychology part? You said you were going to do psychology.
Because I've always been interested in how the human mind works and why people feel what they feel, and like different like debates on it, like the whole nurture versus nature debate, and it's like which one is better, and the whole like Freud, like Sigmund Freud, and seeing how they thought the brain works, and seeing how people have like different versions of it, and how people feel in different circumstances. And I want to like understand how people like think. And I also think that if I didn't go into like teaching, I could fall back on my psychology in there, and I could maybe go back and do something after I do my arts degree, and I could be a psychologist. And I've had my fair share of bad and good experiences with psychologists, and I would want to be that like good one, because I've had so many bad ones, and I've had so many people just be like, you're fine, or they just can't relate. And so you feel like you're just like telling your problems to like a brick wall, and you're like, you don't want that. You want somebody who listens. And so like I would want to be that like psychologist who like would specialize in like LGBT issues and stuff like that, and have like somebody who understands and be like, hey, I'm not just your like normal psychologist. I understand you because I've been through that kind of stuff. And then I could actually like help people in a way. Like I could help people being a teacher, but I could help people in a different way if I was like a therapist or like a psychologist and I got into like that kind of work, or even like public speaking to like boards of doctors about like that, like the issues in the medical world when it comes to that kind of stuff. And just like I think helping people and just raising awareness to things that like aren't necessarily like global and known about, I want to like bring attention to and make people realize that like, hey, this is an issue and it may not be like really publicized, but it's still going on and it still affects like how many people in the world and all over the world, and there's still so much going on that people don't realize is still wrong, especially in like, you know, first world countries. There's still like people being killed over, you know, who they love, and it's like, that's stupid. And I don't want that to happen. I want people to realize that it is still happening, even though it's not really put out in the media, because it's focused more on other things, which is fine, but it's more just like, hey, this thing's happening too, so like don't forget it, because like it's important, man. It's important.
Have you had any like serious confrontations with somebody over you being trans?
I haven't had any serious confrontations. I have had people call me like it, or I've had people call me like my birth name just to like spite me, or like call me she just to spite me because they want to like get to me, or they want me to like do something for them, or they want to feel like they have power over me. I've never had like a serious altercation, but I have had like why did you call me it? Like, what is that gonna accomplish? Like, why does that make you feel so good about yourself? And I've had, you know, there's always that, you know, going into the washroom and feeling like you're gonna be like either A, asked why you're in there, B, get weird looks, or C, you could be physically hurt in some way, which is terrifying. Or, you know, you have the people that like kind of look at you less because they know, or they'll just kind of like give you a weirder glance in the hallway, or a weirder glance if you're in the washroom, just because they know, and they're like, they still see you as like how they knew you, or that's all they see is just me being trans. And I'm like, that's not wholly me. It's a part of me, but it's not like I'm just the trans guy.
Yeah.
You know? So.
But I feel like when it's the first person you know in like that way, it's hard to like.
Totally.
You know?
Well, when my friend first came out to me as just even bi, I had nobody come out to me before, and I actually was like low key like homophobic towards her, and I like stopped talking to her for like a week because I had nobody come out to me, and it was so weird to me. And I was like, at the time, I thought I was straight, and I was a girl, and it was a weird time for me. But I legitimately, I feel bad, and I've apologized to her about it now, and she understands. But just the fact that, like, I said that, and I acted that way, is, like, crappy, and I regret it. But I think that totally, like, when people, like, it's new to them, they're like, oh my god, this is weird, how do I wrap my head around this? Like, even I've had problems, you know, changing people's pronouns if they're like gender fluid or if, you know, it's they them. I have a hard time doing it too, and I'm trans myself. So it's not just like cis people who have problems with it. I think it's everybody because it's new. It's anything that's new, whether it be even math. It's like you have to practice at it and you got to look at it and understand it before it can actually make sense in your head. And I think people don't do the necessary research and understand it in the way that they should before they like start asking questions or they start like, you know, switching up the pronouns. If you don't understand what's going on in their world, you can't understand why you should switch your pronouns around. And it will make it much, much easier, I think, if you like learned about it and understood like what it was like for them to have to come out and like what it was like for them to discover this. And then you're like, oh, that's why pronouns is like such a huge thing, and it'll become easier for people to switch it, and you don't even have to think about it. Yeah,
like, well, as it becomes like more like socially normal for people to be coming out as trans, coming out as gay, bi, or whatever you're feeling, I feel like it's just gonna be the new norm. You know?
Oh, totally. And then there's those countries in the world where it's still, you know, you can be put to death because you're gay or you're trans or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it's just people need to realize like that is still going on, and these governments are, you know, making laws that make all this stuff legal. And it's even going on in, like, the U.S. still. And, you know, people are being killed, and then they have, you know, laws that are being overturned that protected them. And it's like we're going backwards again. And it makes me really sad to see people in the United States who are getting their, like, rights taken away, especially, like, trans people. And me being trans myself, I see them, and I see their rights getting taken away and their access to surgeries and stuff like that getting taken away. And I'm like, I could not imagine if that was me and I had to like jump through all of these hoops to even like get my ID changed. Like I had to jump through a bunch here, let alone in like a southern state in the US. Like that would be so hard. And I don't think I could have the patience or the willpower to even wait as long as it may take and have to be like misgendered that often and to have people see me as the person that I'm not. And that the person that I was born as and not the person that I am. And I like, people like don't agree with me being trans, and they're like, you should have just stayed a lesbian. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'd rather be a happy dude than like an unhappy or dead like lesbian. And like, I feel like everybody should just be who they are, and people are so obsessed with labels and that, well, you know, you need to be this, 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 or this. And if you're not, then you're weird. It's like, no. People are who they are, and that should just be enough. Like, you shouldn't have to explain yourself to people. Ever. I think, and I feel like people do all the time. Too much. So.
There's too much importance on labels.
Oh, I know. And if, you know what, if labels make you feel like you belong somewhere and you want to use labels for yourself, that's fine. But don't force people who don't want to use them into using them themselves. Because if they don't want to, why should they have to? If they're like, you know what, I like who I like and I'm not going to put a label on that, like I'm not going to say I'm pansexual, that's fine. They'll just like date whoever they want to date and be like, hey, this is my boyfriend Johnny, and then like, I don't know, a year later they're like, hey, this is my girlfriend Tiffany. Like, nobody should have to explain who they love or why they love somebody. It's just as long as you love them and it's like safe and you want to be in that relationship, why should it matter? And even I've had like moments of why are they together, like that's weird, and then I'm like, wait, no it's not. Like I feel like we have those thoughts where it's like, we think of things that like society's told us we should think, and then when it's like we're like, wait, hold on a second, that's like our actual thoughts. So if I see somebody walk by and I'm like, oh my god, they're fat, they're gross, and then I'm like, wait, they're fat, but it doesn't mean they're gross.
Yeah.
They're just a person. It just means they weigh more than me. And I feel like I'm like, they're a person too, they deserve respect.
Yeah.
Respect should not be a concept that is like doled out to people who others feel like they deserve it based on certain characteristics.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that, but there's the fat part to some extent.
oh
is,
yeah, no, totally.
Like at some point you are gross and you have
Exactly.
to turn your own life around.
It's when it gets to a point of like where you yourself are at risk of being like unhealthy and you are like, if you don't fix something, you're gonna hurt yourself. Then it's like, okay, girl, you gotta like eat some kale. But then it's like, you know what? If it's a side effect of like say a medication, which
Yeah.
I've seen, it's like, okay, you know what? You do you.
Yeah.
You take that medication if it helps you. You live your life. You deal with that extra weight and you eat those cupcakes. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
over here and. You know, text
Yeah.
me if you want to hang. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like a concept that I think should be very difficult. And yet, for a lot of, like, governments and even just, like, opinionated people, it's just not. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Have your opinions. I'm not going to change your mind. I can tell you things all I want, but it's not going to change what you think, so.
Was there, like, a specific day you realized that you wanted to be a guy, or was it like more of a like, oh, I want to do that, but
well, it's not even that I wanted to be a guy. It's more the fact that I knew that I was. It was just the fact that it was like, shit, I was born in the wrong body. Like when I was a kid, my parents always knew that I was gonna like girls because I'd see a hot chick on TV and I'd be like, I want to marry her, and my parents would be like, well, what about him? And I'd be like, no, he's gross. So my parents knew, okay, fine, likes chicks, but I always used to tell my mom, like, Mom, I'm a boy. And she was like, it's a phase. Like, she'll grow out of it. And she found out later it wasn't a phase and that I actually was telling the truth. And I always used to say as a kid, Mom, I'm a boy, I'm not a girl. And she was like, this kid is weird. But, you know. And so I always shopped in, like, the boy sections. And I knew as a kid. I totally knew as a kid. But because of, like, society telling me, like, you are a girl, this puberty is going to happen to you, and so now you have to start liking guys, and you have to start, like, dressing more feminine and liking more feminine things. I was like, but why? And when I moved, like, from my first home to my second home, guys didn't want to hang out with me in, like, my new city because I was a girl. And I was like, but I hung out with guys all the time, like, in my old city, so why can't, like, I hang out with them here? And it was because I was a girl. And I was like, this is not right. I am a boy. And I didn't really make that connection until I was, like, 15. And I didn't even say it for, like, almost a year. I think it was, like, a good 8 or 9 months that I didn't come out to, like, my parents. I came out to a few close friends. But when I first told my parents, my mom was, like, crying. And she was like, why can't you just be, you know, butch lesbian? Why can't, you know, I'm losing my daughter? And I was like, no, you're not. I'm like, you still have a kid. You should have a son now. Yeah. My dad was like, okay, you're my son now? Yeah, I am, Dad. Okay, what do you want to be called? I don't know yet. I'm still thinking about that. Okay, what do you want to get to eat? You want the calamari to start? Like, that was literally my dad's reaction, and I was like, huh, okay. Like, I literally expect my dad to be like, what the hell? When in reality, he was just like, okay.
Yeah. I think that's the best reaction you can have.
Especially, and you know, your parents are like unconditional love, but it's especially when you have to come out to them in any form. You're like, but what if they don't?
Yeah.
Even though they're like, we love you no matter what. You're like, okay, but what if you don't? What if you're lying?
Yeah.
They're like, what if you're lying to me? And they're like, but we're not. And then you come out and they're like, we knew, or okay, and you're still my kid, but I still love you. And you're like,
yeah.
Oh. That really wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, even if it was you thought it would be.
I can't understand like how much dread there would be with coming out, because like I had trouble telling my mom I had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
So like I can't even imagine like.
Well, I came out the first time as gay, like as I was a lesbian. I was like, Mom, I think I like girls, and she was like, I know. Me and your father have known since you were 3. And I was like,
yeah.
Okay, I told my dad, and he was like, okay, I'm going in the hot tub now. Good night. I was like, okay, that's cool. I have a girlfriend. He's like, do you like dudes too? I was like, nope. He's like, okay, good night. I was like, that's awesome. Yeah. And then I was like, I knew that for like I found out in like the summer, and then by the winter of like grade 8, I was like, shit, something's still not right. And then I figured it out, and I was like, I'm trans. And so I told my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, hey, and I told a couple close friends, and they were like, sick, and they helped me, and they started referring to me properly. And I told my parents in the summer between grade 8 and grade 9, and then so I waited for like a good amount of time before I told them. And it was there were so many times where I was almost like, hey mom, and then I almost told her, and then I was like, never mind. And then I just didn't tell her because I was like, I cannot tell her, especially because she wanted me to like be her daughter, and she was holding on to that like little shred of hope that maybe I would become more feminine as time went on. But as she saw that it was actually the opposite, she was like, and it wasn't my choice to come out. I was actually outed at a therapist appointment.
Really?
Yeah, I was at a therapist appointment to get my drugs checked, like my antidepressants checked, and he asked me, he was like, have you, and this was the first time I was ever asked this question out loud, and I knew at the time, so I answered truthfully, but he's like, have you ever thought of yourself or wondered of yourself as a boy? And I said, yes. Because I was like, okay, you're a therapist, you're a psychiatrist, you're going to help me, you're going to help me sort out what's going on in my head. And then he gets my mom back in the room, and he's going through what I've told him, and I was like, okay, that's fine. But then he got to that and told him that, and I see my mom just give me a look, and I was like, oh no. I was like, oh no. And so then we're walking to the car, and she's like, explain. And I explained it to her, and then that's when she like started crying, and I was like, mom, please stop. Like, this is what I wanted to avoid.
Yeah.
And so it was like rocky for about like 2 weeks, and my dad actually was like, what's the big deal? Like, he's still our kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a lot of like dread in that moment, especially because of my mom's reaction and because of the way that I was outed. It wasn't my choice to say something. And I knew that if I told my mom, or she knew, then she'd tell my dad. So I was like, fine, I'll tell my dad too at the same time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, but I was like, I guess I got it now.
Yeah.
So then I told them, and they were just like, okay. But just the stress of like my mom's reaction.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this is what I wanted to avoid. This is why I didn't come out sooner. And then then she became my biggest supporter in the end. And she was the one who got me all the doctor's appointments and like found all the resources in order to get all my documents changed. So like in the end, it's a win-win. And like she's totally okay with it now and would beat anybody who was like, you still have a daughter. She'd be like, listen, I have a son. Fight me about it. So, but it's totally like, she's totally like my number one supporter, and I love her so much, and I wouldn't like change the way that anything happened. I think it's important to like have people who do support you, even if it's not your parents, even if it's just the like friends. Mm-hmm. And it was really like school system too is weird, especially to come out to as well. That was a whole thing, and teachers know, and I didn't know that all teachers knew, and I was like, nobody had my permission to say anything, and I can't be roomed with guys on school trips.
Really?
Literally, I cannot be roomed with guys because I still have female anatomy, but I can't be roomed with girls because I'm legally, on my documents, a male. So I'm like, I'm legally a male, but because you know that I'm trans and you know about my genitalia that I cannot be in a room with guys, and yet I have the same genitalia, but because my ID says M, I can't stay with the girl, so you're just going to be like, here you go, room of yourself. And they've done that twice or 3 times now.
Really?
Yeah, and I've talked to like people about it, and I've talked to like Murphy, and I was like, listen, why can gay people be roomed together, but I cannot be roomed? And she's like, I don't know, man, I've brought this up. She's like, I've talked about this. She's like, so gay people can be roomed together? And then, the higher ups are like, yeah, but I mean, it's not the same. We can't accommodate everybody. And it's kind of like, you're right, you can't. But at the same time, It's like, there's so many, like, what ifs and so many other, like, loopholes that it's just like, I've learned to be like, you know what, whatever, fine. I get my own room. I don't have to share my bed. I don't have to compete for the shower.
Yeah.
I don't have to friggin' wake up any of you guys. I don't have to listen to y'all snore. I can be in my own room, alone, chilling.
That's tight.
Alone. And I've learned to accept it. Like, it's shitty when I hear that people are having fun in their rooms after, like, lights out. And it's, like, hard to see, like, oh, you guys are playing Truth or Dare alone. And it's like, I'm in my room alone and I can't do any of that. But at the same time, it's like, I'm totally an introvert. So, like, sometimes you gotta find like solace in the fact that, you know what, yeah, they may be having fun, but at the same time, I'm also gonna have like an hour and a half shower, and nobody can tell me that I can't. So, and I can stay up till 3 a.m. watching stupid YouTube videos and laughing my ass off without other people in the beds being like, go the hell to bed.
You can swear. Don't worry about it.
Okay, good. Go the fuck to bed. And I would be like, listen, I'm watching RuPaul. Screw off. I need to see who wins. Listen, I'm eating my ice cream over here that I picked up for like $4.
Yeah.
No, get away from me.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that, honestly, because with dance, like, my closer friends are the girls, but they have their own dressing rooms, and they have their own rooms when you go places, so, like, I really feel left out, and I really feel like I feel the big separation, and I want to be their friends so much, but I can't because there's a degree of separation that the girls who dance together can't have with the guy who dances with
Well,
them.
and I mean, there's so many gendered things. Like, there's gendered, like, washrooms, there's gendered change rooms. And I mean, yes, there is a reason for that, and I understand that, but I feel like there's so much emphasis put on, like, split them up. And, like, you cannot have, like, mixtures. And if anybody feels uncomfortable, then you have to isolate the one that, you know, somebody made uncomfortable. But then, when you isolate somebody, aren't you isolating them because of somebody else's, like, that they were uncomfortable? I'm like, it's not fair if somebody else was uncomfortable to isolate somebody because of that. I'm like, you know what? The real world, suck it up.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody makes you uncomfortable, you're not going to be able to be like, I'm sorry, they're making me uncomfortable, like, in a waiting room. You're not going to be like, they're making me uncomfortable, move them. You're going to have to deal with that person making you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And if your, like, safety is in danger, obviously, say something. And then somebody would be like, okay, creepy guy, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Like, you're not welcome. But if somebody's just like, their breathing is annoying you, like, you can't exactly be like, I'm sorry, your breathing is annoying? Goodbye.
Yeah.
That's not the way things work in the real world. So, I mean, it's kind of like,
Yeah, it's like, suck it up.
Yeah, and I mean, even when I, like, musical theater, it was like, when I had to just change, it was only, like, the two guys. It was like, I knew all the girls were, like, laughing in the college room and, like, having, like, making those memories, like, backstage. And, like, yeah, I was having talks with the other, like, with him in our change room, but it was like, I was better friends with all of the girls, and so I was like, I just want to change with them. Like, I'm not gonna do anything. Why would I do anything? I'm changing from my suit and my tie into my pajamas and back again. Like, ooh, wow, that's so menacing. And those pajamas, pretty much 50% mine, by the way. Those were my pants. Those were my flannel pants.
I love baggy clothing so much.
Amen. It's underrated, I think.
Yeah.
Like, 90s rapper who? It's me. Surprise.
Yeah. And yeah, like, my style is baggy shirt tucked into my jeans.
Yeah, I know. You always do the tucky innie. I can't do that. I cannot pull that off. I cannot pull off a tucked-in shirt.
Why do you say that?
Because every time I try, it's like, it looks like I'm, like, spilling out of the top of my shirt, which I'm not. But it's like, because my shirt's so long and my pants are so long, because my body's so, like, disproportionate because I'm so short, that's like, pants don't fit me right, and there's, like, a giant space.
Yeah.
And then with shirts, it's like, everything's really, really long. So I sometimes I have to shop in the kids section. I literally bought a tank top from the kids section the other day, and I was like, hell yeah, size 14 in boys? Let's go, I can fit this. And I did, and it looks pretty good. So, and it's
Screw
also,
you, winners.
It's also cheaper to get kids' clothes.
True.
So, I mean, who's the real winner here?
True.
I think it's me. The fact that I can shop in the kids section at, like, Gap.
Yeah.
Fight me.
I've also learned a few tips and tricks about the tucking in. Like, you tuck it in the front, but you move all the wrinkle to the back.
Oh.
So it looks nice in the front.
Oh, okay. And so it doesn't, it's like in the back, it's like all the wrinkles. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. Maybe I should, like, take some tips from you, because, like, I cannot tuck in my shirt. Ever. It's like, it's either look stupid tucked in, or look stupid untucked. It's like, take your pick. I'm like, which would be more socially acceptable wherever I'm going? Untucked or tucked? And then I gotta make a decision.
That's the only advice I can give for clothing, because I have terrible fashion sense. All my clothing is t-shirt plus jeans.
And I don't understand the people that, like, dress up for, like, school. I'm like, it's school. Who are you trying to impress?
Yeah,
Teachers?
like, people who come to school with suits on, like,
Ooh, I know. Or especially when they come to finals and they're like all like dressed up and they're like full makeup is done. I'm like,
Yeah.
girl, I'm here in my sweatpants and my hoodie.
Yeah.
Oh, not my hoodie because I'm not allowed to wear those anymore. My t-shirt and my sweatpants, and I'm here writing my exam, wanting to die, and then going home. Okay, like you don't need to be showing up in your friggin' tights and whatever else you wear because I don't know what girls wear. That's dressy because I'm a boy. But you know, it's like go home, go to bed.
Yeah.
Go study. Do something. Not that, though.
Yeah. Sometimes for finals, I don't even shower. I just, like, wake up and, like, okay, let's just go to school.
I'm like, wake up. I'm like, okay, what on my body can I not have right now according to the finals rules? And then I'm like, okay, take all that stuff off. And then I'm like, get dressed. I'm like, okay, again, what can I not have on right now? And then I leave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, do I have a pencil? And then I'm like, okay. And then I go write the exam.
Frick, the hoodie rule is so stupid. You can't wear a bunny hug. It's so dumb.
Like, I'm sorry, if I'm gonna hide answers in my sleeve, do you not think that would be kind of awkward? Me going, like, looking at my arm to, like,
Is
look
that
at
the
my
reason?
answers? I think so.
I thought it was
think
because the
it's-
hood. I thought it
well,
was because, like...
the hood, I think, is because you can, like, hide stuff in your hood, or it's like you can, like,
That's
hide
so
your
suspicious.
identity. You can hide your identity with your hood. I'm like, if you see some creepo walking into a high school exam, you're not gonna be like, oh yeah, walk right in. You're gonna be like, I'm sorry, do you go here? Like,
And also, why would a creepo person be coming into,
like
into a
they're
final?
like, I want to write this 30-1 social studies exam. Like, sign me up. I'm gonna write the best position paper. Screw y'all. I'm gonna win the best like average on this diploma. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
No sane person would do that. So
Sane person.
and like the whole like I understand like smartwatches.
Yeah.
But like if I have just like an analog watch on where I'm like I want to check the time, and I like having my analog watch on, let me. Like, I'm not gonna hide answers. Again, if you see me whipping off my watch in the middle of an exam because y'all are walking up and down the aisles
All the
nonstop, I think you're gonna notice that I'm looking at my watch to see answers.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't understand the rules, and part of me always wants to break them, but I know that if I ever broke them, it would cause me way more harm than good.
Yeah.
And, like, I was wanting to really bring my phone into the exams. I didn't. But, like, I was like, I wonder how much I could push it. Especially with how much these teachers like me. I was like, I wonder how much I could push it. But I didn't. Because
Yeah.
I was like, I also don't want to get a 0 on any of my finals because I'd fail.
Agreed.
So, thanks. Goodbye. You know.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Oh, goodness. And with all the diplomas next year, I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to write, like, 5 or something. I haven't written one yet.
Yeah, me neither.
I see all these people, like, doing, like, Bio 30 in grade 11, and I'm like, no, I
Yeah.
can barely finish grade 11 with doing grade 12 courses in grade 11.
Mm-hmm.
So, welcome to stress next year, second semester. Yay. Oh, God, I'm scared.
I know.
And I also don't want to graduate.
Why not?
Because I don't feel like I'm ready to be an adult and to have the responsibilities of, like, paying bills and paying taxes. Because I have no idea how to do any of this stuff. And, like, I feel stupid for asking. And, like, when I'm, like, I ask my parents are like, you don't know that stuff? Like, how do you not know this stuff? I'm like, because they don't teach us.
Mm-hmm.
And when we try and Google it, it's not like Google is always the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if somebody showed us how to do our taxes or
Yeah.
how to pay a mortgage or even what a mortgage is, then I'd be like, oh, okay, maybe I feel a little bit better to be an adult. But I don't know how to be an adult.
Yeah.
Nobody ever taught me. And I mean, maybe you shouldn't have to be taught everything about being an adult, but at least throw a boy a life preserver. Like, don't throw him in the ocean and say swim.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, I don't know how to swim. Give me a little floaty so I can, you know, have a head start.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, you have, you know, comm in high school. I'm like, comm taught me nothing.
Yeah, agreed. I don't remember anything from comm.
Comm taught me that I could not live alone. That project scared me. I was like, I have to buy groceries. I have a budget. Oh, God. And you're like, you're 15. And you're like, I don't know how to budget money. And you're like, I don't know what a loan is. I don't know what interest is. And then everybody's like, real world stuff. And then you're like, what?
Yeah, it's all like given to you like all at the same time, and it's like an overload, and you still don't understand.
And then in high school, when like all those like freaking counselors are like, you need to know what you want to do with the rest of your life when you're in 10th grade. I'm like, literally, you ask me, I need permission to go to the washroom, and yet you're saying, hey, you need to know what you want to do for a career? Like, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't realize that like this is how the world worked. And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. Don't force me to know that. And if I don't like do good in a subject, don't make it sound like it's gonna be the end of the world. Because I was afraid that if I got like below a 70 in a subject, my entire life is ruined, and I would get a crap job, and I would get into post-secondary, and I don't even. How do I apply for post-secondary? I don't know. There's so many questions that I don't know who to ask, and I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And by the time we like actually realize it's gonna be friggin' June and we're gonna be graduated,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna be like, no, I walked in the school yesterday in grade 9. I think I'm still in grade 9.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be like, actually, you're not. I'm like, okay, that's terrifying. Thanks.
Yeah. Are you gonna take a year off?
I was thinking about it. I was like, well, I want to because I haven't worked like at all in high school.
Me
And,
neither.
well, a lot of it with the whole theater, it makes it hard, and I haven't found anywhere that would actually, I think, A, take me, and B, accommodate that all that time that I'd have to take off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd want to work and actually start to like get my like feet in order and actually, I'd move out like eventually after college probably, but like at least I'd be able to start saving up for after, and I'd start that, but then I'd be a year behind on my degree anyway. And I guess if I want to do my 6-year like plan that I have in place right now, it'd probably just be best to go in and do it and work like part-time while being a full-time student,
Mm-hmm.
and then going from there. But also, what if that doesn't work? Like, what if I don't have enough money and I like run into money troubles? Because I've never been good with money, and it's because, again, I don't know how to budget. I don't know how to save. Like, what's saving? I don't know. I see money, I'm like, I want this, and then I buy it.
Yeah.
And then my bank account's like, you shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, I know. I'm sorry.
Too late, honey.
It's done. Goodbye. Thank God I don't have a credit card, because if I had a credit card, I'd make so many online purchases, and I would be so broke.
Mm-hmm.
But I only have a debit card, so
Yeah.
can't make any online purchases with that.
One thing I learned about credit cards from my sister moving out
Mhm.
really soon is that you need credit.
Yeah, isn't it like if you have crappy credit, your like entire life is like ruined?
Yep. If you have crappy credit, basically, like, people like selling you houses will be like, yeah, no.
See, like my monkey brain, I don't think has enough willpower to have a credit card. Because I'd see something, I'd be like, I want it. I'd get it, and then I wouldn't be able to pay for it, and then my credit would go down, and then my entire life would be ruined, and then I'd be crying in a corner about my credit.
Mm.
And I'd be like, how do I save my credit? And they'd be like, well, you can't. Your life's over. And I'd be like, well, that's great. And then I'd just cry. Like,
Yeah.
I always go worst case scenario, and to me, that's worst case scenario. And so I want to, like, know that I, like, can handle money, and I feel like a year off would help me with that.
Mhm.
But it also could really not help me, because in that year off, I could totally spend everything that I make, and really, the year off would be pointless.
I agree, yeah.
So it really depends, I think. I probably will most likely just go straight into university with a part-time job, or at least get a job in the summer before uni starts, and then just, like,
Mhm.
I'd have somewhat of a head start. So,
Yeah, like, I want to go to Vancouver, so I need to work.
ooh, yeah, I guess.
Because it's so expensive living there.
Oh, I know. But see, that's why I want to stay here, is because then I wouldn't have to pay an extra tax. Because if I moved to like any of the other provinces, you have to pay an extra tax. I'm like, things are
Yeah, the
already
PST.
expensive here. I don't want to move to a place where I have to pay for things that are expensive plus like 2 taxes. No,
Mhm.
I don't want that. I'm gonna stay here. Whether or not like I stay here after like university, or I go do a different degree somewhere else, that's a different story. I haven't thought that far ahead yet, but it's totally like something that I would think about doing, because I don't know how much I would like. I know I'm not going to stay in Sherwood Park.
Mhm.
I'd probably move into Edmonton if anything, but I know that I would not stay here, mainly just because I feel like it's just too businessmen-y and like kind of like family oriented, whereas
Yeah.
like Edmonton is more like college and like kind of like 20s ish.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas like you move from Edmonton to Sherwood Park as you get older.
Yeah.
And like the younger people move from Sherwood Park to Edmonton and then back,
Mhm.
or they'll like go somewhere else.
It's like a big cycle.
Yeah, it's just like you start one place, you move to the other. It's kind of like a win-win,
Mm.
because like Sherwood Park has like all like the domestic stuff, and but like Edmonton has all like the opportunities and the arts and stuff. But I don't think I could like stay here forever.
Me neither.
I think even after Edmonton, I may move somewhere else.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like moving, like, west would be best, or even east. I don't think I could stay in just, like, prairies. But then again, if I wanted to work here, which I do, I would stay. But I would not live in Sherwood Park. I think I would live in Edmonton. if anything. Just live in like a cute little apartment. I think I could do that.
Cool.
And like go down to White
Yeah,
Ave. Like,
yeah.
ooh, White Ave is so good.
I know, I'm jealous of all my, like, Edmonton friends who can just, like, go to White Ave when they want. They can go to all these cute
Oh, I
cafes
know.
and, like, ugh.
I'm jealous of people that have money and that can do that. 'Cause, like, I could drive down to White Ave and I could experience all that, but like whether or not I could pay for shit, that's a different story.
Whether or not you can pay for gas, even.
Ooh, gas is so expensive and I hate it. And I'm like, just like you would think that I would be okay with paying for gas and that I wouldn't have to pay for it very often, but I do. Like even during the school year, it's like at least once a week, and it's not cheap. It's at like $60 to fill my tank. And I'm like, what is this? I'm like, I have no money. I'm just using my allowance just for freaking gas. Okay, that's cool. Just gas.
Yeah.
Just only gas.
That sucks, yeah.
Well, and then like people are like, hey, when you get your license, people are always like, hey, can you drive me places? And it's like, you know what? My good friends, like my good close friends, I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? Fine, I don't care. Or if you're like if you're my family, I'm like, okay, whatever. But it's like if you're just a person that I kind of know and you're kind of friends with me, but you know I have a car and you know I have my license, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna drive you
Yeah.
home. Like you're not my good friend. Why would I waste it? I'm like, if you offer me gas money, then
Yeah.
maybe.
I always leave gas money.
But it's like, and it's like if it's once, I'm like, I'm not gonna ask for gas money. But if it's like a continuous thing, then I'm gonna be like, okay, give me gas money. If it's once in a while, I'll be like, yeah, whatever, fine. I have time to kill. And then because I don't do much, I just go home. So like, yeah, I'll drive you home, whatever. But if it's like every day, I'll be like, gas money, thanks.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be a lot. Like, give me $10. Like, I don't know. And I think people just, like, as soon as their friends get, like, their licenses, it's like, boom, we have a free ticket everywhere. And it's like, no, gas costs money.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. But no thanks.
Yeah.
You know? So, whatever.
I think it's time we just took, like, a 5-minute break so I can get some water, because I'm very thirsty.
Ooh, do it.
And we'll come back.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're back. And...
Hello.
Just kidding. And we're gonna do a bit that I thought of, where basically Kai told me his favorite musical was The Addams Family, or the one that he knew best was.
Well, yeah, because I was in it. I'm kind of impartial to that one, because I kind of had to know it a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little.
So it's kind of like a kind of improv game where I brought up the Addams Family soundtrack and I just pressed shuffle. So now Kai has to make a story out of the organization of the songs.
Oh,
So
goodness.
we start with the Addams Family theme.
Okay, so, I mean, this is, like, just the opening. It's chill. I mean, it's kind of awkward because this is actually the opening.
Perfect, though.
But, I mean, it works. This is an opening. It's setting the mood for it. I'd say it's a good start. Just around the corner. Okay, so just around the corner is Morticia.
Yeah. So what we're doing is lights come up,
Mhm.
Addams Family theme, everybody's
Mhm.
snapping, everybody's being introduced.
Mhm.
Now what happens?
Now, okay, so now it's just around the corner. Now, I want to say, can I say that Morticia is gonna go kill somebody? Can I
Sure.
say, okay,
Yeah.
she's just around the corner because she's gonna go kill somebody. She's an assassin. She's leading another life now.
Right, duh.
Okay.
So, all the ancestors and all the other family members run out.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it's just Morticia,
Mm-hmm.
and she starts singing just around the corner.
Yeah, that sounds so, like, badass. She's, like, we're just, like, waiting. Okay, so now what?
Now it's go into waiting.
Okay, so now it would be waiting. So now I want to say, like, her target, because this is Alice. So I want to say that Morticia is going to kill Alice. Maybe for, like, some, like, weird affair that's going on with, like, Gomez, maybe.
Ooh.
Maybe Alice is, like, screwing Gomez. I don't know, man. And then, so that's what I'm just going to say for that one, is that it's Alice singing, and she's waiting there for, like, Mal to get there. Like, she's waiting to be picked up from the house, and then we see friggin' Morticia in the background just singing, because she's going to kill Alice.
Okay, next song is What If.
What if, okay, so this is Pugsley. I'm going to say this is, what if my mom goes to jail? What if my mom is caught for killing Alice and she goes to jail? How am I going to live without my mom? And why do I have to live with my dad and my sister who wants to murder me?
So this is kind of like all just introducing different characters. So like
Yeah.
it's Morticia, she walks out, and in comes Alice.
Yeah.
And then in comes Pugsley?
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you're in Adams.
When you're in Adams, so that's like brings in like everybody else, and then it's like when you're in Adams, like this is not new. Like this, we do murder people. Like we don't condone it, but like if we really need to, like you got it. Like if there's some weird affair in your family, we're not gonna say we're endorsing murder, but like if you gotta do
It's
it,
an option.
you gotta do it. Okay, let's not talk about anything. Okay, so this is Grandma, Fester, and Gomez. Ooh, let's not talk about anything. I think they're like, besides Gomez, they're like, let's not talk about anything because they don't want to like. I feel like the grandma and Fester like know what's going on, like they kind of because they're in the house and they know about like the affair that's happening, but they're like, let's not talk about anything that would like set Gomez off or like let him know about what Morticia's doing. Like we know she's somewhere. We may know she's killing her. We don't know.
Yeah,
but let's just not say anything to Gomez.
Establishing the fact that they don't share anything with each other.
Yeah, exactly. And then, in the arms. Okay, so this is where Mal has been. This is why Mal is late, is because he's having sex with a squid. In the arms of a squid.
That's canon.
Yeah, literally, that's not a lie. And that's what I'm going with. So that's where Mal is. That's why he cannot pick up Alice. And he's probably going to be the reason that she dies. Live Before We Die. I mean, that one is Gomez and Morticia. So maybe this is, I feel like they're like rekindling and they're like, maybe he's like, I do love you. And Morticia's like, maybe I don't have to kill Alice. Like maybe he really does love me and he just needed something else.
Yeah.
And they just needed to like talk things out, I feel like. The Moon and Me. Oh, this is Fester.
So this is the establishment of Fester now?
This is the establishment of Fester. And I think Fester is just, even in like the musical, he is like omnipresent and he knows everything. Yeah. And I feel like this is also kind of like him. I feel like him and the Moon are just chilling. They're watching everything. They see everything that's going on. They're not going to interfere because they don't really need to. They're like, whatever happens, happens. It doesn't benefit me one way or the other. But we're going to tell you the story of how we think Morticia's going to kill Alice because of a love affair. Full disclosure, part 2. Yeah, I think this is where Morticia is like, yeah, I am gonna kill Alice, and I'm ready to do that. And then it's also full disclosure, and I feel like maybe somebody else. There may be another murder plot that we find out. Maybe Pugsley wants to kill Lucas because he's marrying his sister. Maybe we find out there's another one. Move toward the darkness, that's everybody. Maybe that's everybody, like, there's a big fight that happens, and everybody's like, the truth comes out, and they're like, oh shit, he's cheating on her, I want to kill you because you're stealing my sister.
He's banging the squid.
And Alice is like, excuse me, am I not good enough for you? And Mal is like, oh no. So let's not talk about anything. Again, they do not want to talk about anything that just happened. Mm-hmm. They don't want to know about how Mal had sex with the squid. They don't want to. They're like, you do you. Okay, we're going to do us, but we don't want to know. So let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
Tango de Amor, I feel like this is like, okay, you know what? That was stupid. We shouldn't kill each other because all life is valuable. We can work this out. And if this is Gomez and Morticia talking about it, and he's like, you know what, I did have an affair, I'm sorry. And then it leads into Morticia, where he's like, you know what, Morticia, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, let's have another kid, because it's not like we need another one, but let's have one anyway. And then it leads into One Normal Night, so it's like, they're all good, they figured it out. And Crazier Than You, I think that should be like, we're gonna include Pugsley in that one. It's gonna be Wednesday, Pugsley, and Lucas, and they're all gonna be able to like live together in a happy unity.
I also feel like that could be, Dad. What's his name?
Gomez.
No.
Mal.
Mal and.
Ooh, yeah, it could be Mal and Alice as well.
Yeah, she's like, well, yeah, you can do that. Well, I'm crazier than you in this way.
Yeah, true. Like she's like, you know what? If you can have sex with a squid, I can do this. And so I feel like that's totally all of like Wednesday, Lucas, and Pugsley like learning how to be like, you know what? You can have my sister, but like, listen, she's crazy and she's always gonna be crazier than you, and there's no changing that. Sorry about it. Sorry, I'm not sorry. And then Crazier Than You, it's like Alice and Mal too. She's like, yeah, you screwed a squid. That man, that's pretty weird. But listen to this. And she like tells him something about her past. Who knows what? It's Alice. And then Happy Sad, it's like, Then Gomez comes out. He's like, you know what? We all have emotions. Sometimes we want to murder others based on choices that they make, but that's okay. Not today.
Not today.
Not today. That's not what we're gonna do today. And then Wednesday comes out and she's like, you know what? Sometimes we are pulled, and we all be
in a new direction.
Yeah, which is murder. And she's like, you know what? But don't do that. Instead, torture your brother instead, because he's screaming in that entire song. And then where did we go wrong? Well, maybe I think this is going to be, I'm going to create a not so happy ending to this story. And where did we go wrong? This is Gomez and Morticia, and she finds Gomez in bed with Alice, I think, again. And she's like, you know, I thought I could trust you, but now I can't. And so now I'm going to need to kill both of you.
Damn. And that's curtains.
Curtain, boom. I did it. I'm going to design lights for it. Catch it coming this 2020. It's coming 2020. Please see it in theaters, coming everywhere.
Theaters.
And all live performances. Everywhere.
Everywhere. Mm-hmm. Please don't miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get pulled in a new direction.
Stay.
And have you traveled anywhere?
I have traveled. I've traveled out of Canada. I've been to Dominican Republic. I've been to, your fair share of places in the States, like Hawaii and then Florida, and, your usuals. But I've also been to Australia. I went right before I went into grade 8. So we went to 3 places. We went to Sydney, Brisbane, and Cairns, and we stayed there for, I think, the majority, like a good portion of the summer. And I went and saw the Sydney Opera House. I climbed a bridge in Brisbane. I got to hold a koala. I got to feed a kangaroo. We swam in the Great Barrier Reef, and we chilled in Cairns, which is kind of like a summer's it's more like a vacationing spot for people in Australia. And we saw all we could. My parents ate Vegemite without me. I was asleep, so I never got to actually try it. But we hung out with some Aussies, and we did a lot of Aussie, oi, oi, oi. We went to see some American or Australian football. Yeah. So it's like a mixture of rugby, basketball, and American football and That's soccer. Cool. It was really weird. It's so violent. And then we also watched rugby, State of Origin rugby, which is just 2 teams, and they battle it out. And the one team was going for 10 years of straight wins, and they lost. It was an entire thing. Ooh. People were angry, and I was just kind of there I really don't care. I just want to eat the food. And I did. It was really good. We had we went out a lot, and just the people there too were really good. It's funny. They'd be like, "What part of the States are you from?" And we'd be like, "Oh no, we're actually from Canada." And they'd be like, "Really? You're from Canada?" And they'd completely change. They'd be so nice to you. And I was like, what the hell? And then Australians were also yeah, don't call us Kiwis. It's kind of like if we called you American. Yeah. I was oh, yeah.
Well, because Kiwis are New Zealanders.
Yeah, that's true, and they do not like to be mixed up. And I was ooh. But literally, as soon as we said we were Canadian, they were oh my god, we love you. And I was wow, Americans must not be nice to you guys.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a practice, because when people from the States go traveling, they actually put Canadian flags in their backpacks, and people are way nicer to them. Have you been anywhere else other than Australia? Have you been to New Zealand?
No, I haven't been to New Zealand. I've wanted to go though, because that is the farthest place that you can go on the planet. I've wanted to go to Europe and experience food there, especially because love food, or go to Asia and experience food. I'm a bit hesitant more, though, to go to Asia, just because I know that, the cultures are a little bit less open than, European ones are. So I'd probably, save those ones to, last. Mm-hmm. But I have gone to Turks and Caicos, and most people are where is that? I'm it's by Jamaica.
I know where that is.
He's ooh, I know, I can find it on a map. Let me just show you.
I'm really proud of myself. I know all 197 countries. I can point them all out.
That is an accomplishment that I wish I could have. I could name maybe 20, and you need to give me 20 minutes to name all of those.
I'll test you after this.
Oh, girl, it'll be so bad. I'll be I'll accidentally name a continent or something, because honestly I get confused. I'm what is a continent again?
The biggest mistake people always do is they say South America is a country.
Oh yeah, I think it's because they think of
South Africa?
Yeah, and they're South America, and then people are honey, it's actually a continent. And they're crap, I knew that. I just got really excited. And they're like, oh, no, but Turks and Caicos was really beautiful. It was really, we went when it was a bit cooler, so we, like, didn't die. But it was, like, it was really nice, and the resort was really nice. And they had a bunch of, like, pretty flowers. And it was just a really nice, like, it's better than going to Dominican, like, the Dominican Republic. Because it felt like Dominican, like, we know, is, like, a really, like, it's poorer and stuff. But, like, Turks felt better just because I think it has so much, like, tourism and stuff that it's, like, oh, okay, it's not bad. So many people come here, and so many people spend so much money to come here.
Hey, so I realized we were recording with the wrong microphone that whole time, so...
Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
We're just gonna keep going.
It's fine. We're professionals. It's fine.
We're almost at the end, so you're just gonna have to deal with it.
I mean, if you've made it up to this point, I think this is their reward. It's like, you know, you've put up with the like echoey audio. Now you get like
a little
somewhat
gift.
okay audio.
One thing I want to talk to you about was your taste in music. What is it?
I know I get this question a lot. It's when people ask, I'd say it's probably alternative / like hardcore, because like a lot of my music can't really be put into like a genre of like, it doesn't really fit with hardcore, but then it doesn't fit with rock, and it doesn't really fit with alternative, and so you can say it's really any of those kind of, because they fit into all three of those categories. Like I'd listen to like stuff like from 2005, like what's called like the emo holy trinity, like Panic at the Disco, like My Chemical Romance, and like and Fall Out Boy and that kind of thing. But then I also listen to like 1975 and like the Lumineers and Cage the Elephant and things like that. So like people, like they'll see my playlist and they're like, sometimes they're like, what the hell is half of this? And then other times they'll like see stuff from like 2005, or like they'll see like stuff like Cage the Elephant. They're like, heck yeah. I'm like, I have pretty much everything that you could ever think of on my playlist except for like country, because that's like the one thing I will refuse to listen to is country.
There's some good country. Like, I love the Dixie Chicks.
Okay, yeah,
personally.
no, that's fair. As long as it's not like country where it's just like preaching about like cars and beer and girls just over and over, then I'm like, okay, we're fine. We can listen to this. We're good. But yeah, no, it probably would be considered more like hardcore / alternative. I would say I was much more into like emo music back in like grade 8 and 9. Yeah. Now I'm more into like alternative stuff, so I'm not as much of an emo anymore, but like I'm still holding on to like some of that stuff from my past.
Do you have any like 2 or 3 music suggestions, like your favorite songs right now?
Probably my favorite songs right now I'm listening to Sweater Weather by The Neighborhood. That one's a good one. It's an older one. It's like 2012 or something, but it's still pretty good. Bring Me the Horizon came out with a new one, new song. I think it's called Mantra. So that one is it's new because they're like they're adapting their style. They've changed. Like they're a lot more softer than they used to be. And honestly, probably anything by like Cage the Elephant or Lumineers. Like,
recently I've been on such a Cage the Elephant's kick for no reason. It's just been like, yes.
Yeah, like Cigarette Daydreams. I've like cruising around in my Jeep, just like, it's like, heck yeah. They're a good like cruising band, and it's just kind of like they're more chill. So it's like if you want to just like relax.
Well, it depends on what album you're listening to.
Yeah, that's true. There are some ones where I'm like, let's fight somebody.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's my always mood, is just let's fight somebody.
Backstabbing Betty.
That's me.
Queen.
Coming at you. Fight me about it. Please come at me.
I actually feel like this has been extremely productive.
Yeah, I totally feel like you got to know me more, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because we do need to talk more.
Yeah, because you and me, we basically just talk like very little at school, but
I think it's just because it's like we have so much going on. It's like we have like mutual interests and stuff. It's just we never actually get like a chance to actually like sit down and talk about things.
Yeah.
And like we never have before, and this is actually like the first chance that we have. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool to learn like different perspectives on it, because you have such a different perspective on life than I do.
Oh yeah, and I mean, also like people could like give you different perceptions of who I am too, and like or what you've heard of me from other people. Like, so some people would be like, yeah, he's this like small emo boy, and then other people would be like, yeah, he's just this weird like little munchkin chipmunk man. Like, honestly, it's take your pick, whoever you're talking to, because some people would be like, yeah, he's small and, you know, emo, and other people are like, he's small, yes, but he's also a little fireball. So, you know,
insane.
I mean, call it what you will, but I mean, I prefer Fireball, okay? So, like, get on my level, Max. Thanks.
Well, that's a good place to leave it off.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for joining me,
Yes,
Kai.
thank you for having me. This has been fun. I never thought I'd ever do a podcast in my life, and now look at me. So, I mean, thank you.
You're now immortalized on the internet.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.